Alright, of course, as anybody knows that watches these from me, knows that I don't do these like constantly. I probably should start doing a blog because there's just so many people that they either fight to be evil or they're just too stupid to know anything. Which I've met people like that. They're just too stupid. You tell them anything, they fall for it. No matter what it is, they just fall for it. They don't have the brain capacity to look and see what's the truth and what's not. You know, especially if you're telling them, we will give you stuff for free if you just go with what I say. You know, which basically means with the Democrats, as long as you vote for us, you know, we'll lie to you to no end and make you feel like you're going to get everything. Of course you won't get it. You know, you'll be waiting for freaking your whole life, waiting for all this stuff to come. Which the Democrats, again, they got this perfect plan of make the people believe they're going to get all sorts of stuff. But they come up with every excuse why they don't have it, which of course they blame the Republicans, which is what they've been doing since they first started. Create every disaster they can, every, you know, economic bubble, you know, 9/11, you know, because it was Democrats that fought to get them in here, the terrorists, and fought to make sure they didn't get shipped out, even though two of them were on the terrorist watch list, at least two of them, if not three or more. Then when they pulled the 9/11 attacks off, you know, of course, Nancy Pelosi is like, oh, come on, everybody, hurry up, listen on the front steps and sing a song together and make us look innocent. You know, they fought to make sure that happened. Now, how much Bush was in on it, we don't know, you know. Trump probably guaranteed us thought about releasing those records, but he's like, if I release those records, they'll probably just, they don't even care about revolution. They'll just kill me and then fly out of the country and go hide wherever they got. You know, because he tried releasing the JFK files, and they stopped him there, obviously, you know, because he was going to release everything. And something happened for him to not release them, and now the story's just gone, you know. So, I mean, Trump is like trying to, you know, whatever, wage the needle, how far he can go before they actually do just send, you know, Hillary assassins to take him out, which they know, the Democrats know, if they killed Trump, they'd have instant revolution. So they're trying to pull this off without revolution to get the people to allow it, which is what the Democrats always do. They're always pushing crap to that limit to see if the people will riot. But they're always making sure somebody else gets the blame. You know, it's never them. You know, like the economic collapse of '08. If there's a king and queen of the economic collapse of '08, it's Harry, what's his name? Can't even think of the guy right now. The guy that, Hank Paulson. That's it. Hank Paulson is the king of it because he ran Wall Street and he was the one heading the whole thing. And it'd take a while to explain how that is. You got to get the movie Inside Job and probably The Big Short. And you just have to watch those over and over and over because it's so complicated. You know, it takes a while to get it. You know, to get what the freaking hell they did. And they got away with it. They all got away with it. Not one of them got locked up. They locked up, what's his name? I can't even remember the guy's name right now, but he was running a Ponzi scheme. He wasn't even a part of the economic collapse of '08. He was running a flat-out Ponzi scheme, and, you know, they used him. Like, oh, we got one. He wasn't a part of your thing. He wasn't running a housing bubble. He was just taking people's money and spending it. I might think of his name here in a little bit. But if you look it up, like the one main guy, they try to pin the whole thing on. But there again, that's what I talk about with the American people being stupid. They fall for it. They're like, oh, well, they got one. They got him. They got him. It's like, they didn't get freaking crap. In fact, the people that actually really did it, Obama gave them $23 billion to put in their pocket. And claimed, oh, well, I gave it to them to fix the problem. It's like, why would you give it to the people that did it? You know? Anyways, the king and queen of this are Hank Paulson and Nancy Pelosi. Pelosi was the government side to make sure it got pulled off and no one stopped it. And Hank Paulson was the Wall Street side that did it. So whatever, you got the cover and you got the freaking hitman. You know? And also you got the people with National Association of Realtors, NSA. I think that's the... or NAS, I think that's abbreviation, National Association of Realtors, NAR, that's what it is, NAR, because they're the ones that actually did it, but it was Wall Street that took the money, and dumped it on investors, lied to investors to get them to buy these credit default swaps, which were crap. They had the rating agencies say they were AAA and they weren't. They were like B or whatever. And so, of course, when they collapsed, all these investors lost their freaking money, which that is money that runs the country. That is the foundation of the country that runs business, and so I got to say this, like, for people that haven't even thought about this or don't even want to figure it out, whichever it is, when the government says we gave you something, what that means is they gave you like 20 cents on your $10. They didn't go out there and make it themselves and it's out of their pocket. Everything that funds everything in this country is through your taxes. The money that you make, the money they take from you that you earned, that's what funds everything, from the military to government to, paving roads, to all the stupid stuff they spend monies on, paying scientists to study how slow ketchup, drains out of a bottle. Where they spend millions and millions on that. Let alone the money they give to other countries that hate us and are constantly fighting against us. Like this thing right here. Democrats are fighting to open the borders to get these people to vote for them because they know that more and more people are getting a little bit wiser, and they're realizing, hey, these freaking Democrats ain't here to help us. They're here to freaking jack us any way they can. On any bill or tax that is totally stupid or is a ripoff, it's a Democrat writing it and a Democratic House and Senate that passed it. Whether that's the death tax where your family gets ripped off of their inheritance, or the business taxes where they can't even put a rug in front of their front door. They'll say someone has a small business and they have like a little rinky-dink office, and they want to kind of make it a little bit nicer. So they, just buy like a little rug stick in front of the front door. Well, the IRS, it's a passed law with Congress and the Senate. They have to pay the government to put that little rug there, even though they paid the tax on buying it already. They have to pay an extra business tax for putting that in front of their door. The Democrats have got their freaking dink in your ass so far, so deep, so many times, you have no idea. If you looked at all the taxes you were getting taxed for, you'd probably be thinking like, man, you know what? We actually need a civil war or a revolution. We need to have a revolution and hang a serious number of them to straighten this out. Because, it comes out even once in a while. Everybody's seeing it. The money government wastes money on, that they waste. The umpteen zillions and all these departments. They got so many freaking departments and stuff that don't do anything really. They just keep finding more and more ways to put more people in government, to give government more power. Because, to them, the more people that are in government and not civilians makes them more powerful. And then they just claim, which they lie with all they got, about, oh, we have to have this agency, we have to have that agency. When you look into who's actually in charge of certain things that happen, you'll find yourself going through 20, 30 agencies to try to find out what the hell. And then you're sitting there going, what? What are these agencies all for? How many people's in that agency? How much money in salary money, just salary money alone, not even support like computers and paper and whatever, lighting, electrical, heating, pays for all that. Who are they and what are they there for? And what they just keep doing is keep making it bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's easier is what it is. So you got more people doing one person's job than just one person doing the one person's job. You got 20, 25 people doing one person's job with paid vacation and paid holiday and pension and this thing and health care and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But of course, they don't have the health care that they're putting on you. The health care they're putting on you, you got to pay more, hella more, and you can't even use it because you got to spend $6 billion first, or $6 billion, 6,000. I ran into this. I went looking for health care and they wanted $600 a month out of me just to say that I had it, so I didn't get the fine at the end of the year. But if anything came up that I had to go see a doctor, well, you just got to pay out of your pocket until you hit that 6,000 number. And then when you hit the 6,000 number, then we'll get some people together, have a committee, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do for you, how much, which of course is going to be the least amount they could possibly do. So of course I was like, kiss my ass. I'm not going to freaking even buy it then. I'll just wait till something comes up and pay out of pocket since that's what I'm doing anyways. And besides, they got laws anyways for people that are poor. They can't let them die in the hospital if they have some life-threatening. They got to do what they got to do, especially if the person has an injury or something where it puts them out of work forever. so they have to live off the state. They got to fix whatever it is so the person can go back to work. The major problem with that is they do that for illegals too. We got people with every disease there is, diseases we've had eradicated from this country, coming up here trying to get cured. But that's at your expense, our expense. That's tax dollar expense. But this border thing is just unbelievable. They are telling the American people flat out, you do not matter. You do not matter at all. The only people that matter is us and getting elected into office. That is it. Government matters. Government matters. You don't. All right? That's what the whole deal is. And they're lying. They're telling people straight, even when they lie, they're telling them straight up. The only thing that matters is that government is running. We don't care if the country gets completely wiped out, and millions on millions of people lose their jobs and housing and businesses. I mean, did you all hear them screaming and crying when the economic collapse happened? All they did was use that to blame Bush, which Bush became a part of it because originally he had Cheney and Karl Rove carry a bill to the Congress, which Nancy Pelosi was, chairman of the Congress at the time. We had a Democratic, huge Democratic Senate and Congress, which is why they passed health care. Once Obama came in after Bush, they just had this vast majority where they didn't even need Republican votes because the American people believed the lies, believed the BS, and Bush is just not a verbal fighter. He's the type of person of, hey, I'm just going to do what I think is right, and if y'all turn on me, then F you, I won't even say nothing to you. That's the kind of person Bush is. You have to actually look and find out what happened or what the deal is. So they saw this coming, the economic collapse of '08. And Bush, Cheney, and Rove wrote this bill up to stop the whole thing, basically, not basically, but flat out, by starting with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. The popular saying at the time from the Democrats was, you think you're the president of everything. I mean, they were trying to start crap all over the place to get Bush out of office, and Bush, of course, is fighting them every which way. So their popular saying was that, you think you're the president of every single thing there is. So that's what they said. Cheney and Rove took the bill there, and they're like, oh, here you guys are again. You actually think you're the president of every single thing there is? And she wouldn't even allow the bill to come to the House. And Cheney told Pelosi, which you can't find this on the net because, the net's ran by all the Satanists that are in bed with the Democrats and with the media, unless you remember or you have it copied from back then when it happened, or you actually dig and dig and dig and dig and dig and find it, come across it. They've scrubbed the net of endless things. There's so many things you can't find anymore that were like major news for a long time. It'd take me forever to go through just what I got on the top of my head. But anyways, Cheney told Pelosi, if this, this country is going to collapse, you're going to definitely cause an economic collapse. And Pelosi was like, no, I'm not. It's not going to happen. Nuh-uh. And if it does, I'll take responsibility for it. And this was in the news for like a week or so because there was people calling, or basically saying, not basically, were straight out saying we're heading for a major, major freaking collapse before it happened. But of course, Pelosi and her people, because they were cashing in on the money. All the money that dried up out of the economy, it went somewhere. That money didn't just disappear like out of the blue. Like all of a sudden, oh, dang, look at that. We woke up and there's no money nowhere. No, that money went somewhere. Guess where it went? And so these people like rigged this major freaking scam where they basically ripped, not basically, I keep saying basically because it's about as far from that as it gets. It flat out the biggest freaking robbery from the American people, robbing us through our future taxes is what it is. This is what they thought of. We'll collapse the economy, we'll just pocket as much money as we can, and then when the thing hits the freaking ground like a meteor, we'll just blame the Republicans because, it's Bush that's in office. Who cares if we're the ones in office on the Congress and Senate? No. We'll just, we got 300-something voices, 400, whatever the number was, and he's just one guy. And we'll just use our media to say, Bush did it, Bush did it, Bush did it, Bush did it, Bush did it. And Bush was just like, he just washed his hands like, F you, I'm out. You retards voted them in. You voted for this. It's happening to you, not me. Bush was in on it to a point because once they voted in once Pelosi wouldn't let that bill come to the floor, and they voted this vast majority Democratic Congress and Senate, Bush was like, screw you. All right, you want this? You know what? I'm going to let them do it. I'm going to let them do this to you, and we'll see how you like that. He hasn't came out and said that. But if you look at the whole thing, you look at everything that happened, because the last thing to stop that was the security division of the SEC. And he laid everybody off, except for one person, to walk in the morning, turn the lights on, and turn the lights off at night. And that's it. They didn't investigate a damn thing. Because he's like, I can't do nothing. I had my two top people take a bill to Congress, and we can't even get it submitted. We can't even get the vote on the floor at all. So you know what? If this is what you people want, if you need a rude freaking awakening, well, here you go. Let me hand it to you. Or let me at least let the people go that are going to do it. Because, and this is another thing that gets me with this. They kept calling Bush stupid the whole time. That he was just too stupid to be the president. He was a retard. He had no common sense, yada, 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 yada. But yet he pulled off this the biggest economic scam in the history of man, dollar-wise. And somehow he did it underneath. Everybody knows this. Nobody had a clue. And then it hit. It's like, oh, crap. What is this? We have no idea. Even though there was people forever for the past year screaming this economic collapse is coming. But, never mind that. Never mind the facts. So Bush somehow secretly pulled this total major freaking economic collapse. And what? He's got all the money under his bed. He's got a secret Cayman Island account. And what did he do it for? What was the reason? But you got these legions and legions of people in this country like, no, Bush did it. Bush did it. No, don't tell no facts. Don't look for the truth of nothing. No, just he did it. Just he did it. These are the type of people that Christ says are like oxen that run to their own slaughter. They just can't get stupid enough. So with this border thing, where of course they're trying to blame Trump, and luckily it looks like there's enough of America awake that are like, no, this is your shutdown because you keep trying to keep the border open. And to be honest, ask yourself this any time of the day, ever. How many women and kids are being raped right that second that have been kidnapped from this country and been sold into sex trades? Serious, what's the number? Ask Louis Gutierrez, ask all of them. How many kids have disappeared because supposedly 2,000 kids are disappearing a day. That is a day. 2,000 kids. Yes, they find some, but how many out of that 2,000 are actually being found? Now, where do you think those kids are going? Yes, I've come across that there are Satanists out there that are kidnapping people, and they use them for sacrifices. But especially on Halloween. So, just to let you know, be aware on Halloween. But that is a serious freaking number. And that stuff like that, you're only going to hear once and forever through the press, and then they'll hurry up and bury it. The only reason they say it is just so they could say they said it. But look what they got that they talk over and over and over and over. Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels got paid to have sex, and or to shut up. She got paid to stay shut up. And we just kept, that to them, that's more important. And they'll just go around and round and round talking about her anything they could think of, 24/7. And do whatever. There's just endless stories like that are just completely as low as it gets, licking the bottom of a freaking toilet type stories, but they'll just go forever with it. But the real serious stories, like the victims, they don't ever mention the victims. The victims of like how many people are kidnapped today, how many are raped, how many are murdered, how many are hijacked, identity thefts. We'll just mention those once and forever. And then we'll get off it because we don't want to be called racist, And my point on that is, well, then you know what? Any illegal that wants to kidnap a woman or a kid or gang rape somebody or whatever, go find a Democrat or one of their family because they like it. They don't care if it happens. You know, to them, the victims don't matter. So if you want a free ride as far as that goes, you know, start from the top. Pelosi, Schumer, you know, Maxine Waters, you know, because they've said over and over and over, hey, if this is what you do, we're cool with it. We're totally cool. Of course, they think it's, you know, Pelosi and Schumer and whoever think it's okay if it happens to everybody else. You know, Pelosi even said, you know, if people are like kidnapped or whatever, then you know what, that's just collateral damage. To her, if people's lives are completely destroyed or they're murdered, I mean, even since Kate Steinle, how many people do you all think have been kidnapped, raped, murdered, whatever else, had their identity theft, had identity theft done to them, you know, which has destroyed mass lives, endless lives, won't even know what, everything else going on, every other crime they commit. How many have happened since Kate Steinle? You know, and they just hurry up and bury it because to them the victims don't matter. The people that actually pay the price for this, well, screw them. Don't even mention them. All we have to do is act like the people that do the crimes. We have to be nice to them and treat them good, like the guy who killed Kate Steinle. He got off. You don't see the Democrats crying or bitching about that, do you? You know, to them that is like, I'd bitch anything. They partied. They celebrated that. When that guy got, I don't know what he got, probation, and I don't know, for like stealing a gun, you know, or firing a gun out in public. First reports of that case, everybody that saw it said he walked up and shot her in the back of the head and then took off running. Of course, in court, they changed it. They probably threatened everybody with their lives, or who knows what they did, brought in fake witnesses that said, oh no, he accidentally dropped the gun and the bullet bounced off of a freaking whale out in the ocean and came back and hit her accidentally. I mean, the story is so free. And actually, if you read, you'll see there's like 3 or 5 different, you know, supposed accidental shootings, how she got shot. Well, everybody originally, you know, that was standing there said he walked up to the back of her head and shot her. You know, and that's what they do. They give you a bunch of stories that totally contradict each other, where you can't prove anything, and then they basically laugh and walk off and say, "Ha ha, you can't prove nothing." You know, we got this witness here that said this, and that witness that said that. Well, the real ones, you know, I guess the best thing that comes to mind is JFK, where they're saying, "Hey, no, we heard shots coming from over here too," and they got threatened. They got told, "No, you didn't. You did not hear those." You know, if you keep insisting you heard those, then you know, we're going to disappear you. And that's just our government nowadays. You know, the Vegas shootings, especially for anybody who's ever been to Vegas or been to Mandalay, you just look at what they said on Face, and this just kills me, is how stupid they are. They can't even tell like a good enough lie that it carries for a minute. I mean, what they said like didn't carry at all, especially the proof that came out. You know, the proof that, you know, where some guy shooting out of a 4-story window, and actually the local news, this was on the net for a little bit, showed the same thing. So that don't look like, you know, the 23rd floor. That looks like the 4th floor or the 7th floor. You know, there was supposedly some newscopter in the air showing the flashes of, you know, from the barrel coming out the window. You know, and then that got taken off the internet. That was on YouTube for a little bit. But anyways, that's what they do. You know, they pull this crap, and that was a false flag. If you just look at the story they told, and you look at, you know, the facts at all, like, you know, for that guy to shoot out the window, for one, all the people that know him were like, no way. He didn't do this. He didn't do this. They got his brother on camera, and they like threatened him with who knows what. So he's standing on camera trying to say, oh, I don't know why he did it, you know, this just totally disturbs me. And then he said the wrong thing, and he got scared. They're like behind the camera going, hey, you motherfucker, we'll take you out. You know, and he's like, oh, wait, what? What'd I do? What'd I say? You know? So obviously they were like basically holding a gun to his head to try to make him say stuff to make it look legit. You know? So the whole thing is just total crap. And, you know, every person that knows him was like, no way. Besides, that window, you know, from, you know, on that side of Mandalay, if you've ever been to Mandalay, that's like right above the driveway that drives up to the front door. So if he would have blown out the windows, all the glass from that would have like landed on the road coming up in, and also all the cabs that line up there. You know, there's mass cabs, well, they line up all the way down the street. You know, because Vegas got like 50 trillion cabs nowadays, or at least, you know, I'm sure they do still, but they definitely did then as well. So that glass would have landed on all the cabs, and they would have ran in and said, hey, freaking someone just blew out a window. There wouldn't have been this 20-minute, 40-minute wait or nothing. People would have been in the casino right away saying, hey, man, something's going on upstairs. Someone blew out a freaking window. And from there, it just goes. You know, because I want to make this about the border. But, you know, Charlottesville, you know, that girl that got murdered, if you check all the videos of that car slamming into those cars, you know, of everybody that had cell phones, she wasn't even there. You know, they kidnapped her wherever they kidnapped her and murdered her. And this is all to take our guns, to disarm us. That's their main thing, to disarm us. And that's what Vegas was. Vegas was, this will piss people off so much and freak them out that they'll, you know, they'll just go ahead and give up their guns. Same with the club shooting in, where's Thousand Oaks. In fact, that's funny because the video camera that was there, someone found a recording, like someone started recording, like, what the hell's going on here? What is this? And then they found one of the guys that got his recording from him that was in on it. You know, where he's like, oh, look, they're killing everybody. The club's empty. You know, a machine gun fire, you could hear it, but you don't see no bullets going nowhere. You know, and he just runs out screaming, I don't even know what. But there's no people there. I mean, the whole thing is a freaking false flag. Anyways, this border thing, the reason I got to do a video is because this could kick off a revolution. If Trump gives in and says, you know what, I'm just tired, I can't do it anymore, you know, like he already did, kind of. He already said, you know, maybe we won't get a wall. And he got thousands on thousands on thousands, who knows how much, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, or even 1 million plus, you know, emails or letters, you know, saying, if you don't stand strong on this, we will start the revolution tomorrow. We were ready to go. If Hillary won the election, we would have just went right then. We ain't living underneath this communism from the Democrats. You know, they're celebrating like, oh, we won. But it's like Lucifer. You know, him trying to celebrate thinking he won, and he instantly is cast into hell. You know, he's thinking because he got a third of heaven, you know, like, we won, look how many people we got, God's going to give in to us. And, you know, and of course, Michael and his angels came and cast him and drove him into hell. It's the same kind of thing. Their greed is so massive, the Democrats, that they're just blinded by it. They're completely blinded. They're like, if we could just make America communist, we'll own everything, and we'll be like Putin, where all of the resources and everything in this country will be ours, and we'll just reap the profits off it, and the American people will just have to work and be slaves for us, and we'll just lie with everything we got to, you know, whatever, try to keep it going for as long as we can, you know, because look, how long did Russia carry on for? 100 years? We'll be dead by then, but we'll be living so filthy rich, it won't even matter. You know, we'll be living to just, you know, as higher on the hog than anybody can ever imagine. Just look how much we can make out of this country. Yeah, but their first thing they got to do is disarm us. And they're finding that that's not as easy. So they're trying to find some legal way, you know, because like I said, their greed is so massive that they will cut their own heads off to get it. They're just blinded. You know, they don't have a clue. Even though people have told them, look, you're going to get a revolution out of this. They're like, oh, no. When was the last time that happened? They're like the 9-10ers, you know, that are 9-10. They were all, no way, Bin Laden would never fly a plane. That's rude. That is just rude. Yeah, he'll blow people up everywhere, all over the place and kill people, however. But fly a plane into a building, no way will he do that. On 9/11, they're like, oh, but we didn't think he would do it. You know, as long as it's costing everybody else, they're fine. As long as everybody else is getting butchered and hacked to the ground, which there again, every disaster they have to exploit and give themselves a raise. Every time there's a disaster, like, oh, now we really got to work, which they don't ever work. They just try to find whatever way they can, try to cash in more, and it's up to us, the American people, to work it out. But then again, depending on who's in power, you know, any of you who don't know this, Lucifer's just waiting for you. He's got his mouth wide open for you to just fall in as soon as he can get it. When Obama was president, they thought they had this country. They caused the economic collapse. You know, this country was drugged down almost into the dirt, especially after 9/11. And they thought, all we got to do is a few more things and this country will hit the dirt. What they didn't count on or didn't think would work was the straight up people that were going to work their asses off to make this country straight again. Obama didn't keep this country alive. If you look at everything he did, what it actually was he tried to flat out wipe this country out, take it down. He spent $10 trillion on nothing. He was trying to pay every country he could as many hundreds of millions as he could to have abortions. Here, free abortions on us, The country is in full-on economic collapse. He's trying to give them, hundreds of billions of dollars, and he did it state by state too. Here, just have all the abortions you can. Here, double or quadruple charges. Anything to full-on collapse this country, so he could, so they could flip it to communism. I mean, he tried the whole time. He tried saying capitalism, it was a great run, but it didn't work. They went to the UN, passed laws to try to flip America into communism. Agenda 21 and all the other UN stuff where, he tried saying, well, UN law supersedes American law or our Constitution. And everyone here said, F you. No, it doesn't. And him and Hillary were going there, getting everything passed they could. The UN is set up to own America like property. So if this thing collapses, all of a sudden we are property of the UN and they can do whatever they want with this country. And that's what they're going for. And then this border thing is just one part of it. Just, one little part of it. The, healthcare system is another thing. Overloading it with people that are anti-American. They're not American, they're anti-American. Turning the justice system upside down, where they're locking up people for little things. I can't remember what it was, but it was the other day, some little girl, I think she fell in a hole somewhere. And I don't even think it was on the property. They're charging the mother with manslaughter and putting her in prison. Her daughter just died, out running around playing or something. And they're charging her with manslaughter. But yet, there's all these other people that have committed murder. They're in prison for murder. And Obama lets them out so he can get their votes. He let 60-something thousand people, who knows how much, probably 80,000, that were convicted of serious crimes, rape, kidnapping, murder, so he can get their votes. And then he canceled the military vote on top of it, for his second election. Because he's a commander-in-chief, I guess he could do, obviously,